Welcome to the Shower Epiphanies podcast, where we explore your hidden thoughts and desires, revealing your greatest drop the mic moments. Now, here's your host, Art Costello.
Welcome to the Shower Epiphanies podcast. Today, my guest is Bianca Diana, who is a soul and creative coach, intuitive and energy alignment guide. She works with creatives, coaches, and healers who are passionate about making a positive impact in the world. Through her private one-on-one programs and as an alignment guide in the Align to Succeed program, Bianca is able to help her clients energetically let go of what no longer serves them so they can get out of their heads and into their hearts and connect to the true source of creativity and possibility in their lives. Her superpower is supporting her clients in a fully loving themselves, shadows and all. Bianca believes that self-worth is the key to helping her clients live a life they love, free of regrets. Welcome to the show, Bianca. Great to have you.
Thank you. Hi, I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Super. We met at the New Media Summit in San Diego last week, and you're a fireball. You got great energy, and I love it. Can you tell us your story, how it all began for you?
Yeah, it's interesting thinking back that far because a lot of people probably say this, but it began when I was born. It began while I was growing up, when I was a little girl, noticing different things, these different intuitive abilities. But really my epiphany of this moment was when I was around 14. Yeah, I was 14. And I just had this really interesting experience that opened my eyes to what is beyond, right? The things that we can't see that exist, which is energy. So would you like me to tell you that quick little story about what happened to me?
Yes, absolutely. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, stories. Well, I was in my room. I like to write a lot. And I was just sitting there thinking about this and that when all of a sudden I felt this energetic presence come over me. And I heard, just in my mind, get a pen and a piece of paper. And I said, okay. So I got a pen and a piece of paper. My hand just started to write things on this paper. And it was all these really beautiful messages about who I was, about family, about just all of these really interesting messages. And then it was signed Paul Reverend Ives, which is my late great grandfather, who was a minister for a Methodist church. So I was just kind of blown away. And then I felt this other presence, and it was very warm. And again, my hand started writing, and I wrote all of these things, and it was a message from his wife, my great grandmother, Geraldine Ives. The signature, the handwriting, didn't even look like mine. So the big part of this experience was right after I wrote these messages, I just put everything down, got down, because I was sitting on my bed writing this. I got down onto the floor in front of the bed, and I wasn't somebody who prayed, but all of a sudden my hands came together, like they were forced together into a prayer pose. And I just started saying all of these positive things about thank you for my family, my friends, and all of these things. And then I said, amen. And my hands fell down onto the bed, and I went, whoa, what the heck just happened to me? So that started really this journey of mediumship, really. I had a lot of automatic writing experiences where I received messages for different family members, things that I wouldn't have known, where they said, wow, I asked that question while I was going to bed. How did you know that? This isn't something.
Can you remember how you felt? Did it scare you?
No, because I had experiences like that throughout my whole life, with feeling like there was energy around me and playing dress up with people who weren't there and weird things like that. So it wasn't, it was, oh, okay, cool. This is fun.
When I was 9, I went to a mountaintop, laid on my back, and had a conversation with God. And I did this over and over and over again, many times. And then one day I was laying there looking up at the sky, and I heard a voice. And it just said, everything's going to be okay. Just do what is right. Keep doing what's right, and you will be fine. I was so freaking scared. I mean, I had never had that experience before. So listening to that voice really scared me, but yet I trusted it and I wanted to follow it. And I was just wondering if your experience, you were so receptive to it that it came to you in just a very natural manner. But I think what happens to a lot of people is they're so scared that puts the fear of God into them and they don't do anything with it. They go, oh, that didn't happen. No. And they deny until they suppress it so bad they don't let it flow out. Do you kind of agree with that, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's with a lot of things too, and that definitely relates to creativity, right? Because we get inspired, we have things come through to us, we have these different messages and experiences that you just can't explain sometimes. Maybe we don't have the knowledge to explain it in the moment. So yeah, it can seem really freaky. I definitely have had a lot of experience where I was super scared and freaked out, wondering what in the world is happening to me right now? How do I avoid feeling so scared about this? So I think to really dive into that fear and really examine what wants to emerge right now, why did this happen to me? Especially if it's a message that's a positive message, right? And in this case, deceased loved ones, just bringing beautiful messages to me to share with family to help uplift them, then you want to look at that and I guess say yes, move in towards that and explore.
Yeah.
The need to have closure in any given situation is sheer human nature. And when it comes to romantic relationships, this desire skyrockets. Has your previously failed relationship left you in immense pain? It's not uncommon for people to shy away from a new relationship after their first one fails miserably. The fear of the unknown makes them hide in a shell to prevent any future heartbreak. Relatable? Despite wanting to love and be loved, you can't take the plunge if your mind and heart are still locked somewhere in the past. Maybe you aren't aware of the power of releasing the past, or perhaps you don't know how to do it. Art Costello in his online course teaches the art of moving on from bad places to happier, more stable ones. This course can change your life for good, helping you beat all kinds of negativity on the road to eternal bliss. Sign up now before the gloominess gets the better of you at expectationacademy.com.
When you have these experiences, can you feel your physical body change?
Yeah, more you feel an energetic presence in the room. You can feel different sensations. For those experiences that I had with the beginning days of automatic writing and getting messages and mediumship, it was definitely a warm feeling, a warmth coming through my body, sometimes a vibration or tingling sensation. It's kind of the same feeling as somebody being in the room with you. You know, when somebody's in the room with you physically, you can feel their presence. They have a certain vibrational frequency about them and they make you feel a certain way. And that's the same.
Okay, I want to get back on your story. After you were 14 and had this experience with your great-grandparents, where'd you go from there?
From there, I really dove in and continued all of that mediumship stuff. But I really got immersed in metaphysics, spirituality, quantum physics, quantum mechanics, all of that, psychology, of course, human psychology. So I really just dove full into all of that because I wanted to figure out how and why, all the questions that people ask.
Yeah, when I was at Harvard and I was speaking with one of the astrophysicists there, they made something that I had never thought about. They said that I was the first person that they could ever follow a life cycle of putting out those vibrations at a 9-year-old on that hill and then following, because I'm 72 now, so following them in a complete circle. And they were really interested in talking to me about the journey. Can you talk about your journey, the rest of this journey?
Yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, I went through a lot of journey.
I don't want the nutshell. I want the whole enchilada.
Well, there's just so many details. It's so intricate. I feel like even every day, every week, every month, every year, we're growing, we're evolving as humans. So for me, every single day, I feel like a completely different version of myself. So with the journey of from that mediumship onward, I ended up again, diving really into all of those studies. I worked in the human services field for many, many years. I'm helping and supporting people with developmental disabilities like autism, Down syndrome, etc. So in group programs, and then eventually as a manager for supported living services. So I was just really intrigued by how people work, and I really wanted to work with people. But what that did for me, that experience, what unfolded from that was that I just had this urgency within me where I knew that I was a catalyst for healing in other people. I knew that I wanted to make a positive impact in the world. And so that's what drove me into human services. But then further from that, I just dove into working with energy. And so that just kind of happened naturally through conversations that I would have with family and things. I would start to pick up the words that people would say that were these little, I guess, flags, these little flag posts to say, oh, this is a cycle that this person is in. And if they can shift this word or this way of thinking, their life is going to unfold. And so I started to notice through just conversations, through working with people and through my conversations with family, that I had all of these intuitive knowings, these feelings into these people's lives through what they're saying and just through the energy that I can feel from them. So what that looked like was just feeling into people's energy, kind of knowing how they're feeling on any given day, of course, but feeling that in my body. And then just getting these direct knowings, these pieces of information that would just come in where I went, oh yeah, that. And I would share it and it would be correct. And people would go, whoa, how did you know that? Or yeah, I agree. That's totally me. So that kind of got me in trouble in the beginning days in my early years because people, oh, Bianca thinks she knows everything and all of this stuff. So I think a lot of people who have these intuitive abilities that, by the way, everybody has these abilities. That's something I really want people to know that, I mean, if you look at yourself and think about how you interact with other people and the energy that you feel coming from other people and the way that you can intuit things, everyone has intuition. It's just about building upon that and practicing it. So I was able to pick up all these things. And I think a lot of times we go, oh, I need to filter this thought that's coming through. I need to make sure that that's right before I say it. But just the whole time just allowed it to come through me. And I think that's what allowed all of this to transpire into what it is today, where I started working with people in sessions and just created this whole technique and process where we can let go of limiting beliefs and really move forward in our lives. So yeah, from mediumship, okay, to really diving in all the brain stuff, all the research, then to feeling into what is this, how does this want to come through me, a lot of automatic writing. But then I moved out of mediumship. I felt like I was in a world of lower vibration and I wanted to have more time to sleep. I would get woken up in the middle of the night. I remember it was in 2013 getting woken up by just a knock on the wall behind my head. Just poof, poof, poof. And I would wake up. What is this? And I'd look around and then I just felt like my grandfather was there and he had passed away years before. I looked at the end of my bed and I just felt like, it's not that I could see him physically there, but I just felt his image there. And I said, what do you want? And I need to talk to you. And I just went, no, I want to sleep. So it was that moment that was the next part of my journey in 2013, where I went out of mediumship. I said, how do I get out of this? And how do I work with higher frequency energy? How do I come into, because my whole purpose is to simplify everything and to cut through all the noise and just get to how can we bring all of this energy, right, into our physical world and utilize it instead of all the woo-woo stuff, which is so real and so fun, but it's not as easy for the masses to utilize for themselves and figure out, how do I apply this to my life?
Yeah, I'm very interested in quantum physics and the quantum realm, because my next book is going to be Quantum Expectations, because I believe that expectations are the seed that has been planted in us for our creativity and growth. And once we learn how to manage our expectations, life really gets pretty pretty simple. And I break things down also into simplicity and all that.
Has anyone ever inspired you to discover a happier, healthier, and more fulfilled you? It is a magical experience, isn't it? Inspiration is indeed very powerful, yet it's often undermined. It can lift you from the ground to the sky in no time. Have you ever thought about returning the favor by inspiring the people around you? If you don't think you have it in you, we have good news for you. Art Costello's online course has everything you need to learn to supercharge yourself and shape your character into a powerful personality. Get ready to discover your strengths and unleash the creativity within. Don't believe it? Check it out yourself by signing up for this life-changing course at expectationacademy.com. That's expectationacademy.com.
What role do you think expectations play in your way of thinking, in how you think?
Yeah. What I work with my clients on is, again, letting go of things that no longer serve them. Mm-hmm. So I call them reference points. They're basically the false limiting beliefs, habits that no longer serve us for the vision that we have in our lives and where we want to be, how we want to show up, who we want to be. And even memories and experiences or traumas that we've had that shape how we respond to things. So part of letting go of those reference points is a big portion is expectations that others have placed upon us. Because a lot of times there are things that have happened in our childhood that really create a belief patterning and a belief system that we then base all of the rest of our lives. If we have a similar experience, our brain just pulls that out and says, oh, that's what I did then. I survived. I'm still alive. Let's do that again. The brain is like a processing unit. So it just has these programs in place that it can retrieve information and know how to respond and react, right?
Yeah, and I don't think that other people's expectations really play a role in our lives, because if you live to the expectations of others, you're not living to your expectations, and you're never going to be happy. You know,
Right.
I mean, I've just seen it way, way too much. But I, again, believe that expectation is a seed that's planted. I actually believe that it's in our DNA. There is something in our DNA with expectations that we either see them in faith or fear. Two lenses: fear stopping us, faith moving us forward. And it doesn't have to be a religious faith or anything like that. But, you know, when we live to the expectations of others, we have actually given our power away to whoever it is. Advertisers do it. Government does it. Politics, I mean, churches, all try to have you live to their expectations. And I think it's really important that you live to your core expectations. I mean, we have societal expectations. I mean, I challenge people all the time. There is nothing that we do is not based in an expectation. I challenge people all the time. Every single thing we do, whether we say we can or we can't, the expectation is either positive or negative, but everything is based on expectation. So,
Right, exactly. I feel like too, expectation can be used in a positive sense. We can expect that things are going to go exactly the way we want them to eventually, right?
Oh, yes.
But yeah, the expectations of others, I mean, that's exactly what I believe is so important, is cultivating who you are, what your core values and belief system is, how you want to show up or how you would need to show up to be who you want to be, to make the positive impact you want to make on the world or create in the way that you want to create, whatever that looks like for you, your dream life, right? Mm-hmm. But to cultivate that from within your heart and to know that you are enough and you're worthy of having all of those things because that's who you are at the core, then it's like, forget expectations, right? Forget what others say, forget what the norm is in society. Follow that heart, right? When what you call faith, follow that.
One of the first steps that I take people into what is like what I call the identification phase, where they identify what their wants, needs, and desires are. And I work with that a lot because people just don't know anymore. I mean, they've just given so much of their power away and so much of their creativity and so much of their heart and soul They've just given it away. So they got to get back in touch with it. Then you can start to help them move forward. And I see a lot of the programs where all say different things, but mean the same thing a lot of times.
Yeah, I've studied spirituality and religion a lot, and you do notice that core of the teachings, that core thread. And that's what I really wanted to pull from energy. We're more than what we can see, right? So I really wanted to pull what's the core, what's the source of all of this? What is the main theme, right, of what this energy is and what it can do for us and how to tap into that and unlock it. Yeah.
Yeah. You talk a little bit about helping people live free of regrets.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's these core fundamentals to that where it's just knowing that we're always doing the best we can with what we know in each moment. I really believe that. So speaking of regrets, it's kind of, if you believe that, if you can really tap into that, then knowing that if you make a decision, right, if you're really following, even if you're not following your heart and you followed fear and you made a decision and really bad things happened, you can pivot. You can always shift. You can change what your reaction is. You can move into something different. You can say, okay, that didn't work. I learned this. I'm gathering this strength from this experience. I can move forward, right? And again, that cultivating self-worth can help you to really tune into your heart and that faith of who you are and what you want in your life, so that all the decisions you make do come from that place, which sometimes defy all logic, and people will go, whoa, what are you doing? And you'll go, I don't know, I'm freaked out. It might be scary. It might not feel like flow sometimes. You might be doing something that feels like a really big leap. But if you're doing that, then only good can come out of that, because that's the direction in which the next part of your evolution is, that allows you to do what you are really wanting to do in your life, because you're actually being true to yourself.
Yeah, you're in touch with yourself. Do you find it hard to get people to get to that level, to get in touch with themselves?
I don't find it hard at all. It's what I love to do. It's the joy in my life, is really being able to see structurally and energetically how these things work, and the divine laws of nature, how that works, what's available to us, then helping people really get out of their heads. Because when we're thinking about, oh, I don't know if I want to do this because I might regret it or I might not like what happens, that's really holding us back. And we're really just spinning our wheels inside of our head instead of taking action, or if we're making a decision for somebody else. And that just, again, ultimately leads to dissatisfaction and unhappiness.
So you're taking people out of their head and into their heart.
Yeah, rewiring our minds.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's fun. We get to do all these fun paradigm shifts where we might be looking at something through a lens of fear. And when we step back and realize, oh, well, there's a part of me that feels this way. That's a part of you that really needs a lot of love and compassion. I mean, maybe that's something that was in place because it served you in some way. Maybe it kept you safe. And maybe you had a really great life up until this point, making decisions in that way. That's fine. But now what wants to emerge is this wholeness, because the heal is to become whole again. So we're taking those parts of you that feel scared or that have regrets and bringing it back into wholeness, because that is you. It's not a separate part of you. And you need love and compassion. You need to be super kind to yourself. And when we do that, it allows us to let go of all of those regrets, all of the false limiting beliefs and the habits that no longer serve us, so that we can more easily move forward and do what we love to do. And it's really not a hard process because it is energetic. So the way I like to explain it is, when you think about a closet, and you have a whole bunch of stuff in your closet, when you clear out your closet, it feels so good. It feels light. You don't have all this stuff that you weren't wearing or that you were storing away, never looking at for 2 years or whatever. And it creates flow where now you can accept things that really mean a lot to you. You can get a really nice shirt that makes you feel great and looks good on you, and you have space for it now. And it comes into your life and you get to put it in your closet and you get to pick it out and wear it one day. So it's kind of like that with energy. Our energy that we store, all of this fear that we store in our bodies, it's all just stored potential.
It makes perfect sense because I just did a podcast with a lady who does decluttering, and she talked a lot about the mental, how it transfers into a mental decluttering and how it moved her forward in her journey in life. And now she teaches it to others.
I love that.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Does emotional intelligence play a role in your world?
Yes, that's important. Yeah. And I'm sure there's many different definitions of emotional intelligence, right? I feel like for what I do, how that relates is our emotions, it's energy and it's information. Emotions are messages from ourselves. They're messages from our subconscious, from our bodies. They are part of our intuition, and they really hold the key to self-worth. They can really help you to tap in and look at maybe why you're having regrets or why things aren't going well in your life. When we really listen and feel those emotions instead of pushing them away or blocking them out or numbing them, we allow a really greater version of ourselves to emerge. And we heal so much by doing that because we just need that compassion and that love in order to come back into wholeness and emotions.
Yeah, my take on it is if you can't identify the emotions, you'll never be able to have any control over them. You know, and you need to be able to identify them to move forward and become the full person that you're meant to be.
It's interesting too, on top of that, as an add-on, what I also like to do is the emotions, since they are stemming from, they have a core energy to them, I like to actually get out of the identification after we do identify it, just strip it away, because when we put a word to something, there's a lot of belief around it. So if we say, I feel sad, sadness means something. So we're attaching all sorts of stories, memories, beliefs, and patterning and response mechanisms to that word, right? So I like to strip it away and say, okay, but what's the energy behind that, right? Where do you feel that in your body? You can actually start to tune into your body really deeply and feel where that quote unquote sadness is coming from. Do you feel that in your chest? Are you feeling something in your stomach? Are you feeling it in your shoulders? Or there's places where this sadness is stored, and that's that stored potential I talk about. So when we find the energy and feel the quality of the energy, it can unlock and help you to let go of a lot that you've been holding on to.
I just had a thought. I'm a person who lives in the moment. I don't look back and I don't look forward very much. I mean, I would be lying to you if I say I don't do it sometimes. But the majority of my time is spent in the here and now because I'm focused on just being and just doing. I'm a doer. I like to do things. Do you think that living in that space kind of takes away some of because I have very few regrets. I mean, I was trying to think when you were saying things that I regret. I really don't regret much in my life. You know?
I love that. That's great.
Yeah.
I feel like being fully present is a really great goal for all of us. I mean, that's what I strive for. Being fully present in the now is what helps you to be so fully aware when things come into your life, when opportunities come in your life for evolution, for growth, and just opportunities, resources, answers to questions we might have. It all comes in when you're really paying attention and you're being an observer in your life.
You know, that's why when I was in Vietnam, as I was a Marine in Vietnam,
right,
I was so acutely aware of my surroundings because I was in my here and now all the time that I could see things that other people didn't see. I have a friend that's a highway patrolman here in Texas, and he covers a huge area, or used to cover, he's retired now, but he covered a huge area. And so I would ride with him at night and I would see things that he didn't see. And I'm wondering how much it was attributed to the fact that I'm in the here and now, and I'm so focused on what the here and now that I see it, you know? So
yeah, definitely. Definitely. Because if I were focused so much on my past, I wouldn't be enjoying what I have in front of me. I wouldn't be appreciating the people that I have in my life or time with loved ones. I would be in my head thinking or worrying about the past or regretting the past. I really just feel like it takes a lot away from your quality of life. But just like you said, really being able to see things other people aren't noticing, that's a really great quality because you can help other people that way, right?
Yeah. I can remember as a little boy saying to myself, I am not going to live like my mother does in regret, because my mother was a child of the Depression, and her dad was very wealthy. Her mom and dad were very wealthy, and they lost everything in the 29 stock market crash. They lost everything. My mother lived in that space of regret because almost every sentence out of her mouth was, I can remember how it was when we had.
Yeah.
And it consumed her. It really, really did consume her. I loved her, but it just kind of took the joy out of everything, I mean, it was kind of like she was mad at the world,
Basically what it does is it brings that experience into the present because she's focused so much on it, right? And everything was in response to that piece of knowledge that was a fact to her, right? And it was just brought right into the present. And so everything in the present is related to that fact. And that's a reference point right there.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Don't know which direction you want your life to take? Are you sinking deep down into the pit of uncertainties day by day? So, what's the secret to leading a happy, satisfied life? It's taking matters into your own hands. But what if the matters in question are a total blur? Art Costello's Expectation Academy course aims to tell you exactly how you can get some clarity in your life. This course can be your savior on your journey to reinventing yourself. While you certainly can't plan your whole future ahead, you can definitely control twists and turns your life takes. So what are you waiting for? Sign up for this course now at expectationacademy.com. Get a chance to broaden your horizons and add meaning to your life. That's expectationacademy.com.
Got a question for you.
Yeah.
Are you asked if you're an empath very often?
I'm not asked that. No, I haven't been asked that.
I get it all the time.
Really?
Are you an empath?
Well, it's a big hot topic word, right? Everyone's relating to it more these days. I guess for the past 2 or 3 years or something, empath has been a really big thing because people were realizing, oh my gosh, I'm taking on other people's stuff. Maybe, I can feel their feelings. I feel sensitive in these environments where there's a lot of people. I need to disconnect and get somewhere else to recharge. So it's this big thing of, are you an empath? I haven't been asked though.
I always say, no, I'm not, because I'm so the opposite, because I want to empower people to live their lives. I don't want to take anybody else's problems on, or I don't want to have that vision. I mean, I try to deal solidly with the here and now, and we just keep moving forward. So it's real interesting.
Well, I think there's also, with empath, I think there are people who consider themselves an empath. They want to learn how to be a better empath, meaning they want to learn how to live in the world without it affecting them, right? So there's a way to upgrade, up level. If you identify as an empath, you can do certain things and learn how to work with your energy in a way where you're not taking on people's stuff. Because we don't have to be in another person's story or in their pain to help them. In fact, we help them more when we are not taking on their energy or feeling it in our own bodies, when we can be completely grounded in ourselves, in our body. That can be a strength, that can be a pillar for that person who's going through something. Whereas if you're both crying and, I know, I feel it too, then you're both just in the same thing, right? And it's hard to get away from that.
Yeah, I don't get there.
No.
I don't get there. So I guess
no, me neither.
I guess I could say I'm not an empath, but
yeah.
I asked people, why do you think I am? And they said, you're so sensitive. Well, I said, there's a difference between being sensitive and being an empath.
Agreed.
Some people just don't maybe know the definition. So, but I had another thing that I know that is important. You talk about the leap of faith and the leap of heart.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what that is and what it's about and how it works?
I love this because I feel like you identify with the word faith, right? Like you would say leap of faith. I've always called it a leap of faith myself. It wasn't until recently I realized, working with my clients, wow, a lot of things are stemming from the heart. A lot of our confidence issues or being hard on ourselves or not moving forward is just a lot of energy blockages and a lot of pain in our hearts. The heart is so magnetically powerful. It really does a lot for our energetic system. There are energy centers. People would call them chakras. There's other terms, of course, but we really do have these energy centers. And that's what I work with a lot when I'm helping people in a session. When I'm holding the session and being present for them, I notice the energy moving. I can kind of sense where it is and what it's doing, and I can see blockages. And sometimes they take on really funny shapes, like briefcases and anvils and, and swords and just really weird stuff. You can't make it up. It can be fun. So when I realized that it was all with the heart, I started thinking about my life and all of the things that I've done that completely defied logic, where if I hadn't moved forward, for instance, if I hadn't left my most recent position as a supported living services manager without savings, without another job, without 401k, nothing. I knew I had to follow my passion. I knew I need to get away from that 24/7 phone. It was a hard decision. But what allowed me to do it, I felt like it wasn't blind faith that, I'm just going to do this because what else am I going to do? It was this, my heart was speaking to me. I wanted to follow my passion. I felt it right there in the core of who I am. And so a leap of heart is just really grounded in who you are. You're cultivating your self-worth, and you know that you're enough to have the things that you want to have and experience the things you want to experience in your life. That's where I make the distinction of faith and heart, leap of faith and leap of heart. I feel like there is a difference. I feel like the difference is that when you're taking a leap of heart, you understand that it's not that you're jumping into the dark and into the unknown. There is that one expectation, the positive one I talked about before, that you know because you know who you are, and you know because you know who you are and what you want, that you're making that decision based off of that. And only good can come from that.
It's powerful. It really is powerful. When, and I'm a proponent of listening to your heart and soul and your gut, because so many people, and we talked a little bit about this, so many people just they foo-foo it. They go, I've got this feeling about something. When I get those feelings, those gut feelings, I go with them. When I was in Vietnam, particularly, or driving a car, I've seen things happen. If I had turned right instead of left,
right,
I could have gotten run over, or I could have stepped on a landmine, or I could have fallen in a bungee pit. I mean, just all these things happen. But whenever I listen to my gut, it never fails me.
Yeah.
It never does. And that's the power of listening to yourself, because so many people just go, I got this feeling, but I'm going to challenge it. I'm going to go do what my head's telling me to do, when they should be telling them what their heart does. People, get married when their gut is telling them. I mean, I've talked to people who have been at the altar and said, I knew I shouldn't have said yes, and I knew I should have. Well, if you did, then why didn't you walk away?
This is exactly the importance of leap of heart right here, about cultivating the energy aspect of who you are, the energetic aspect of who you are, which is what I've studied for the last 18 years, is we all have intuition. Intuition is literally just this GPS system that we all have. It's energy. We can sense energy in our environments, right? Environment plays a crucial role to your quality of life. If you're in an environment that doesn't feel good, you feel it. If it's not conducive to who you are, and you need to get out of there and get somewhere where you have people supporting you, or where there's an environment that not only that you feel comfortable in, but that really helps you to be the best version of who you are, and that propels you forward. So our energy tells us things. Our emotions are those messages, our feelings are messages. And when you're talking about the gut, that's that safety mechanism where you can feel right away where you're in a bad situation, and you get that in your gut, in your stomach, and you go, okay, this doesn't feel good. But there's a lot of subtleties too. So when we develop our intuitive abilities and we develop our ability to pay attention to energy, then that will allow those little subtle messages that come through to speak louder, where we can heighten our sensitivity to them. So what you just said, where somebody went, oh, I knew this was a bad decision, but I did it anyway. It's because we get so many messages from our environment and from ourselves, from other people. There's so many just pieces of information and energy flying all around, hitting us. Every cell of our body is just getting slammed with energy, radio waves. We've got all sorts of other things going on in the world, as you know. So it can be hard to weed all of that out. I mean, one way that we can start to develop that intuition, which I want to share with everybody, is just a really simple technique of, if out of nowhere you feel just stressed out or not yourself, where you go, oh, why do I feel this way? I was super happy and all of a sudden I feel upset or angry. Just slow down, feel your body, and just ask, whose is this? 80% of these feelings or this information that comes through is really not even our own. It could be from the environment or somebody that we love that we're picking up on.
You touched on a subject that I'm actually doing a lot of study on right now.
Ooh.
And I want to get your opinion on this.
Okay.
As you know, 5G is starting to come around us.
Oh, yeah.
And 5G is highly charged ions and particles that are going to disrupt a lot of people's energy levels. And what are your thoughts?
Well, first off, I just really feel like it's important that we get to know our own energy and what that is, who we really are, and do all of that work. Really start letting go of those reference points, begin to come into a place where you can take those leaps of heart, build up your self-worth, your self-confidence, and know that you are enough no matter what, no matter what's happened in the past. You are enough. You wouldn't be here if you weren't. You were born into this world. You have things coming into your life based on who you are, right? So if you can understand your own energy patterns and everything and your sensitivities, then you can start to handle what's happening in the tech world, where we are coming into 5G, because I know there are a lot of people who are sensitive to these things. And a lot of people might be feeling symptoms not knowing what it's from, because the only way you would know what's affecting you is if you really took a magnifying glass and started testing everything out. And that can be hard when there's so many influences coming in. Yeah,
5G is really powerful.
Yeah, I was shocked. I went, no, and then it's going to be 7G, and then it's going to be 8G. It's just never going to end.
Well, I mean, from what I'm reading, though, I mean, it really can have a devastating effect on the human body and the brain. I mean, we're already dealing with the cell phones and the heat and all the other disruptors that come into it. But, we'll see where it goes. I mean, I
say shut off your phone at night, airplane mode if you can, unplug your Wi-Fi, just reduce in your own environment these signals as much as you can. I mean, of course, we can't control our neighbors if we're in a townhome or apartment buildings or we're in a city. I mean, that's why I love being outside of a city. I love being out in nature. It's good to disconnect when you can. Get off social media, get off your phone, just get out to the ocean or to the forest and reconnect with nature. That's a really big part of what I do in my life, and what I love to encourage everybody else to do is to get your bare feet on the ground and really reconnect with the divine nature that's available to you and that is coming through your body. It's part of who you are, and it's important because with this technology increasing, it's only going to be more bombarding to our energetic systems and our nervous systems.
Yeah, it is. I have another question for you.
Yeah.
You talk about the secret code to self-worth. Tell me about the secret code to self-worth.
Yeah. So kind of in line with everything we've been talking about, it's just another really big piece of this. It's so simple, but it's important. And I did already hint at it during this conversation, but something that I think is fun to do, I kind of call it a resonance test, where I like to say kind of an intention or a phrase, a statement. Then I'll have my client or whomever wants to play along respond by repeating it. But what they're doing is when they repeat it, they just notice what happens in their body. And this is about that emotional intelligence, that the information coming through, the energy, just really paying attention to it and observing what happens without judgment, just with full curiosity like a kid. Ooh, what's going to happen next? It's really surprising what happens, and it's different for everybody because it really lets you know what's going on. And what it allows me to do is see how much does this person resonate with this statement. And so the statement, the secret code for self-worth is, I am enough. Now, you may have heard this if you were in the spiritual world. People say intentions, they say them over and over. They have these mantras and things like that. That's not the way that I use this, and that's not what this is. It's literally a way to tell where there is stored energy in your body that says, oh, no, you're not enough. Remember that one time people laughed at you? Nope, you didn't. Nope, you're not enough. You didn't do well enough, right? You didn't get the A in the class. So it's a way of your psyche, your belief patterns and those reference points to come up and say, I call BS. You are not enough. So what you can do is you just kind of let your breathing do what it does naturally, and any tension in your body, you just let that, I like to say you melt. You just, any tension in a muscle, you just let it expand and go from as horizontal as you can feel. That's what you're going for. Then you'll just say, I am enough. And just feel in your body what happens. So I did this, I guess, a few weeks ago with a client. First off, they went, I just felt, no, you're not. No, you're not. And I went, what? Oh, yeah. She said that she had all this energy in her chest tightening up. And there was just this little voice inside that said, no, you're not. So the secret code to self-worth is I am enough, feeling into all of those things. And when you are able to get to a place where when you say I am enough and it just feels light and good, you know that you've let go of all that stuff. And it does not come back. It's energetic. It does not come back once you let that go. And the fun thing is when you're able to do that in one session where you work on something really major, and you can do that test in the beginning and do it at the end and feel completely different. It's amazing.
That's cool. We're getting up on almost an hour.
Yeah.
I don't normally do this, but I've got to do it. I've got to say this to you. And then I'll let you wrap up by telling, where people get a hold of you and all that. I've been so steeped in psychology for so long that I don't think I've ever heard or been around somebody who is eloquently stated what they do with this energy fields and your whole thing. I'm really impressed. I mean, and I say this out of great respect for you, and I just want to honor you because you really put it to where I see it, I understand it, I feel it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Because I've always been one of these people about, right.
It's
kind of that woo-woo, kind of thing that we talked about in the beginning.
Right.
I didn't feel that with you. You're very authentic and genuine, and it just comes through, and I felt it. And I just wanted to honor you with that, Thank
you so much. That means the world to me. This is my passion of bringing the woo-woo down to earth because energy is part of who we are. Yeah.
Well,
it's so important for people to get that.
Anybody who studies physics and quantum physics and astrophysics and ever knows that energy is, we are energy. We are. And when we put out these vibrations that we do, they go somewhere. They go to other people. They come back around to us. I mean, it's a fact. It's a fact.
Since I was a little girl, I've never stopped saying that energy is neither created nor destroyed. I believe that statement right there, was that Einstein? I mean, who is that said energy is neither created nor destroyed? That is just such a powerful statement because what it means is that it's always there. It exists. So it can explain a lot of things that we wonder.
Mm-hmm.
It really can when you start to dive into that. It can also explain how we can take our pain, our hurt, and come back into wholeness with ourselves and transmute that energy into love and really do a lot for the world.
Yeah, because love is the ultimate powerful energy. I mean, we've done so much to destroy it in this world.
But it's never destroyed. It just goes somewhere else where it's wanted.
I think we displace it.
Displace is a great word. That's a great word.
A better word.
I like that, yes.
We displace it
totally
in our lives, in our families' lives and all that.
Right.
And when we displace it, yes, it can come back, but it becomes our choice, and our actions are the only thing that will ever bring it back to make it better and stronger and more creative and all of those things. So
it all comes back to, just final thought, it all comes back to when we are hurt and in pain and that love is displaced, it comes back to a place of feeling fragmented and separate from others, separate from love. And so again, healing to become whole again, we want to bring all aspects of ourselves back into wholeness, to reconnect with love, to reconnect with our hearts, and confidently say yes to a life that we love, free of regrets.
Yeah, it just reminded me of Harvard. I ended a speech I did at Harvard, and I said there's two things that man desires: to be loved and to be validated.
Yes.
And I think that it's a fundamental truth. We all want to be loved and validated. Okay, where can people get a hold of you?
Just BiancaDiana.com. I have a free quiz up there because I love working with creatives who want to make a positive impact in the world. So you can take the quiz to find out what your creative superpower is. We're all creative beings, whether we know it or not. So that's a free quiz. You can take that. And everything's right on my website, working with me, contacting me, all of that, BiancaDiana.com. For the energy alignment work that I do, I'm part of the Align to Succeed program. So you can also go and check out, there is a quiz for that that'll tell you how in alignment you are. And you can take that quiz at takethisquiznow.com. Very simple to remember. And check that quiz out too while you're at it. Yeah.
Super having you on the show. I mean, you've opened a lot of eyes, and everybody out in the audience, I reach out and get a hold of Bianca and try to tap into some of this knowledge and this gift that she has. She's a wonderful young lady, and I'm just honored that you've been on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'd love to have another conversation with you in the future.
Oh, we will. I can guarantee.
Awesome.
I can guarantee it.
There's just so many more things to talk about. We can go on and on.
Yeah, I mean, that was one fast hour. So
yes, it was.
Well, let me get Heather White to take us out of there. Everybody knows where they can get a hold of me, expectationtherapy.com. My new course launched last week, and just have a blessed day. And reach out to Bianca because she is super. Thank you, guys. See you later.
Thanks for listening to the show. Drop us your comments and questions with what you want answered on the show. You can subscribe on iTunes and Binge Network. You can also get more information on the website, expectationtherapy.com.